So we're shooting at employees for putting too much mayonnaise on their subs. We must be down real bad in the South. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast. It's Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. I am back for another weekly episode. I don't even know where to start. I just did a 3-hour podcast episode yesterday covering what started out as like 3 or 4 subjects, but expanded into a whole thing. And just as I finished it, this news about this guy returning back to a subway attached to a gas station to shoot at 2 employees. One died the same day. Then by 5 p.m. that evening, news got out that the other one also died. And the reason why he returned and started shooting and killed 2 people, 2 subway employees, is because they put too much mayonnaise on his sandwich. You know, it's free of charge to get a napkin or plasticware, which I'm sure was at the gas station in the same building, to clean the excess mayonnaise off. I've been through plenty of drive-thrus, or been in a restaurant or at a fast food place, and the sandwich just was either lopsided or the mayonnaise is actually on the diameter of the bun. Never once thought to go back and shoot the place up. Never thought once, to even argue about it or cause a scene. And I don't even like mayonnaise like that. But this isn't about me. This is about every month there's like a story that comes out that confirms for me how down bad we are as a society. And, it's slowly looking like the stink and the funk that Florida has for the mess and the ugliness is just slowly permeating to other states around it. And Atlanta is fastly becoming like another version of Florida, where it's just too much chaos, too much shit that doesn't make sense. Like I was telling friends a couple days ago, like, just do a whole battery scrub of Atlanta. Because if it's not like the nonsense of how people talk to each other on these hookup apps and these dating apps, and the shit that they're doing to their face, taking magic marker and trying to create a hairline and create bigger eyebrows, and you really out here looking like the Hamburglar. It's just, what is going on? What is happening? And it's already 900 degrees outside. It's already crazy as it is since the Panasonic, or, well, even before it. Now y'all returning back to food places and killing people because they put too much mayonnaise on your sandwich. We are not well. We just are not well. And it's like, can we just do more with, our time and press about other shit that's going on? I said in the episode yesterday that's coming out this week on streaming platforms is that there is way more pressing shit out here than approaching people the way that you do. because you can't take a joke, because you can't handle too much of something that you don't want. You can't handle rejection. Like, a lot of y'all should be studied. I saw the news, you know, one of the news channels had interviewed the business owner of that particular subway. And it's crazy because when the story was circulating around my friend group, one of the guys in the friend group said he knows exactly where that subway is. And it's like, this shit's hitting closer to home. Now, granted, like, we're not tight, but just the fact that you know someone that knows where that is. And my mind starts to wonder, like, what if that was a day that he was in there? Because a lot of people out here that are like Tough Tony and got a gun on them have terrible aim. And it's like, I can't. But anyway, I interviewed the business owner on the news, and he is contemplating whether he'll be back, if he'll reopen, or if he'll just shut the place down altogether. Because it's crazy, like, over some mayonnaise. And they caught the suspect, thank God. I don't know how, but to go into a place and shoot and kill 2 employees at that place over mayonnaise. And I'm willing to bet 5 to 10 that there probably wasn't even much of a discussion. Because honestly, if you speak to people, just speak to them. I'm sure they'll be happy to resolve it. Just ignorant, just ghetto. Like, this story takes me back to a time in the 90s where people would go to the movies with guns and they just lose control. Even like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, where people would just go into a movie theater and start shooting at people. Back in the 90s, people would go to the movies. If the shit's real funny, if the shit's scary, or if a movie shit's all around good, they'll just take a gun out and just start shooting in the air. Nigga shit. And the summer is just started. Like, we're barely a week away from July. So I'm gonna move on. You know, I watched the BET Awards. I covered a lot during the podcast episode, but what I didn't cover on the episode, I'll cover it here. There was definitely a lot going on. The energy was different. But the main reason why I watched the BET Awards was to watch that Puffy tribute, and Viacom knew that. Viacom knew that, you know, the new music, okay, who's ever performing, fine. But a lot of us in my age group really wanted to watch that Puffy tribute because Uptown, Bad Boy, it's always a good time. If you remember 7 years ago, he did a BET anniversary medley of performances at the BET Awards. I still watch that to this day. And I was amped so much and for so long that I actually went to one of their tour dates at the Verizon Center in DC, and it was off the hook. His guest star on that stop was DMX. I was so glad I got to see DMX at least, you know, one time before he passed, unfortunately. So I was excited, and it didn't disappoint. I saw Jodeci. You know, they did they performed a short performance of the remix to Come and Talk to Me, for which Puffy produced. Now, mind you, that's different than the album version. Y'all probably don't even remember or weren't even aware that there was a Come and Talk to Me remix. That sampled the EPMD song. Josie looked good. And given everything that Casey and JoJo has struggled with over the years, they sound good. And the harmony is still there. It was 3 members instead of 4. Where was Devontae? My girlfriend asked me. I was like, girl, I don't know. Hopefully he's not in a subway arguing with workers. Nevertheless, Josie did pretty good for what they had for the short time. Mary came out after that. I gotta be honest, she struggled a little bit with I'm Going Down. I would have liked for her to perform a second song, preferably from What's the 411, since I know Puffy had a hand in that. I mean, I would even dare to say it probably would have been dope if she had performed If Loving You, I Don't Want to Do Anything Else, her duet with KC, since they were both there. That would have been my second choice for Mary J. I'm Going Down, that's fine. And then after that, you know, Puffy joined his own tribute, of course. Did All About the Benjamins with 2/3 of the locks. Styles P was missing. And then Lil' Kim came out, which everybody's gonna get hyped for. She was too caught up in the moment and did a little robot intro dance. It's clear that she is aware that y'all be of the trend that's going on where y'all do the robot dance. Even though it's to Quiet Storm, the remix. She did it to All About the Benjamins and did it for so long that she missed her cue. But I loved it. The look was cute. She looked good. I really want y'all to not even stand as close to the idea of body shaming her. Y'all have been well made aware of the fact that she has gone through years and years of domestic abuse and low self-esteem, which is what influenced her decision to have plastic surgery. She is also pushing 50, which, you know, no amount of plastic surgery or lipo or a tummy tuck or whatever she may have done to herself is going to reverse or stop aging and the science of metabolism from happening. We will not be doing that, especially when a lot of y'all out here are going to the back of hair salons to get BBLs and paying the cheapest airfare to get BBLs in third world countries and possibly dying on the operating table or days after. Lil' Kim looked the fuck good and she sound good. And the reviews from the way she sounded to the way she looked says a lot about y'all more than it does about Lil' Kim. And that's not cute. I like the outfit, I like the fit, I like the hair, I love the shades, and I love the performance. I would have liked if she had went from her verse and All About the Benjamins Sunday night to No Time. That would have killed it. You know, Puffy was on that song. It didn't have to be the whole song. It could have been like the bridge or something. Like the beginning to the bridge. It would have been dope. I definitely would have liked him to give I Need a Girl Part 2 a break. You know, he did Victory, which was cute. It would have been nice if he had did something off of his second album. If he had did Let's Get It, even though Black Rob is not around. If he could have did Roll With Me, I guess, or he could have did, what else could he have done? He could have did Flavor in Your Ear. More of his production stuff. Like, I mean, it would have been dope if we had a total reunion. They have been hinting that, or probably joking that 112 was backstage, but the medley could have been a lot more different from his 2015 medley. Once he did the I Need a Girl Part 2 shelf, I was like, ugh. Like, I would have liked more production, more of his like features and productions to be part of the medley. I'm tired of listening or hearing or seeing him perform that Bryson Tiller song. Bryson always stands there like he got dropped off by his parents and they left him at the mall. The stage was great. The staging was great. Maybe the song with Bryson is starting to grow on me. That's more of a Bryson song than it is a Puff Daddy song. I don't know, man. Like, I give the tribute maybe a 7 out of 10. Let's see. The show overall was a 7 out of 10. Lizzo Killed It was given Werther's original. That was a nice opening. From what I heard, she got one of the boys from TikTok as one of her backup dancers. It's not lost on me that the random thrown in Vogue Ball thing that they did was a forced attempt to be, I guess, an alliance to save face over the Lil Nas X situation. That was jacked, that was ugly, that was contrived. It would have just, the bigger statement would have been, giving that boy his nominations just off of the acclaim of the album. It may not be everybody's taste, but Montero is pretty decent. You know, he could work on his stage presence and probably work on breath control, but it was undeniable last year. And for Jack Harlow to get that chance to be on the stage ahead of other Black artists, and it was clear that he was either high or distracted, allegedly. He just did not look okay, and he definitely was off on the stage. And, you know, Lil Wayne saved the snooze fest of his performance, and then Brandy killed it, of course. Brandy looked the fuck good. Brandy looked the fuck good, and she not only rapped her part, although I think it was lip synced, some of that, but she also sang the chorus better than whoever was on the album version. And clearly Brandy's drinking her tea that Ray J didn't drink when he did the verse. He was part of the Verzuz Battle. Covered that on the podcast episode on streaming platforms that's coming out this week. But, you know, so many different moments. Lotto killed it. It was so nice to see Old Dirty Bastards Jr. Doing his dad's part. It probably didn't resonate with a lot of people what was going on at first. And to top it off, she brought out Mariah. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And Mariah sounded the fuck good. I mean, if anything, Mariah's going to do her little two-step, do the bare minimum physically. Like, step out like she's stepping onto a cruise ship and kill it vocally. Looking forward to the album. At first, I didn't see it from a lot. I was like, big energy, last year when she was performing, I was like, ugh. And there was a time that I was confusing Lotto with Saweetie. Like, I actually did it on an episode. And, you know, it wasn't lost on me, the colorism controversy. I mean, people are still in their feelings about that. Like, it's this girl's responsibility to deal with your issues. Even some of the international artists were great. I think the guy's name is MF something. He was great. I'm glad that Tim's won 2 awards. I love her voice. A lot of people are like, I don't like her voice. I said, I love it. It's giving me like modern day Grace Jones. I did not watch the whole show. I mean, once the show got to Diddy doing his new song, Bryson Tiller, I turned it off. Apple iPhone just does not like me recording because it keeps giving me the phone storage message. But I'm going to finish this fucking episode. Hail, sleet, and snow. The BT Awards was cute. We will not be body shaming Lil' Kim. It's tired, it's late, it's low-hanging fruit. And it's mostly from kids younger than us, who probably never even listened to Lil' Kim albums like we do, and it hit. And shout out to Cardi B for paying homage in her visuals for her new single with Lil Durk and Kanye West. I love seeing that people are appreciating Lil' Kim's second album a lot more. I've been on it, never kept my foot off of it since 2000. I remember playing that album out leading up to me going to the Air Force. I went to the Air Force that summer. Moving on to the next subject. Every time there's a mismatch versus that reads like Ad-Fram or Broccoli Festival where there's like random thrown in people put together, there's always somebody that comes out, another artist that's like, oh, I want this person to do a versus with me. Donnell Jones, been a fan, but Joe is not your competition. First of all, Joe is going to wash every single person, R&B artist in the 90s, except maybe R. Kelly, Brian Knight. I can't think of any other male R&B artists. Maybe Luther, but he kind of tapered off, and he's passed away. Donnell Jones, John B is more your speed. Like, y'all just doing the most. I had some recommendations for verses I wanted to see, even whether it's from a modern day, like artists I've grown up with in high school, middle school, grade school, or even some of the older artists. When verses first started rolling out, I said I wouldn't mind a Dionne Warwick versus Diana Ross. I wouldn't mind a Kelly Price versus Faith Evans. I know we're not going to get an Anita Baker versus Sade. I'd even went so far as to put out, because for me, like, it's not that hard. If you have been listening to music most of your life like I have, you can kind of tell. And it's unexpected for me, you know, the people that I threw out. I know in the podcast episode we did this week, we had mentioned Raphael Sadiq. Now I know Lou Cypher from Hell's Around the Corner podcast had mentioned Raphael Sadiq going against Wyclef. I was like, ugh. I think, first of all, on the strength of Tony alone, Raphael Sadiq will wipe out a lot of people. For me, just strictly off of being an artist, a more well-suited person who is not only writing and producing his own stuff, but also a multi-instrumentalist is Babyface. Now, keep in mind, the verses that Babyface did against Teddy Riley was strictly producer and maybe writer. Babyface as a solo artist, oh, that would be dope. And, you know, Raphael Sadiq could possibly wipe Babyface out with Tony, but you know, Raphael Sadiq, you know, Tony lasted probably about a good 6 years. Lucy Pearl only had one album. Raphael Sadiq's solo stuff is sketchy at the most. But the thing about it is Babyface and Raphael Sadiq, their careers overlap. Of course, Babyface goes back a little further. Babyface can throw in some of his stuff from The Deal and some of his live stuff. You know, there's some Stevie Wonder stuff. There is so many great like hits and singles and deep cuts. And he could throw in some of his own cheat codes, some of the duets he's done with Pebbles, Karen White, some of the stuff he's written for Karen White. I mean, it could be anybody's guess, but the point is, you talk about two cats that have at least 20 plus years as artists. If we gonna talk about competition, the shit has to be balanced. For Donell Jones to open his neck and mention Joe of all people. Now, Joe may not be as commercially successful as like a Maxwell or have an impact as big as R. Kelly, but he has, outside of Chris Brown and maybe Usher and maybe Brian Knight, one of the more consistent male R&B catalogs. And I'm saying R&B, like not neo soul, like Music Soul Child, who has one of the most consistent catalogs in that genre. Joe goes back at least to 92, 93, and has remained commercially relevant at least 10 years. And then he's been independent, I think, at least 15 years. And he still puts out stuff. Now, it may not be like big hits, but they're steady radio hits. And he has those slow jams, and he has those features. Easily could watch Donell Jones. Donell Jones peaked late 90s. Yeah, he has some writing credits. He's written for Usher. I think he's written for Faith Evans, but he kind of topped out the early 2000s. Along with Genuine, like the bulk of their hits or deep cuts is early mid 90s to early 2000s. And for Donell Jones, like, you really want somebody that is not only around that same time, but the catalog is around the same. John B, at least 4 albums, still relevant. He has one album he did independent after Pleasures You Like. A lot of people slept on. That's one of my favorite albums of his. But it's only fair. Now, you're probably thinking, that's not even a half an hour. But they got some other shit too. No, it's debatable, it's relative, it's, you know, objective that, you know, we could each have an opinion based off of something different than the next person. Relevancy, the catalog, like people in the 90s looked to like radio play to determine relevancy. Oh, well, this person doesn't have that long of a career, that many hits, but it's like back in the day when we used to buy whole albums,